Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Avoka.
Good afternoon. This has got to be the best looking audience in fintech. Every single day, thousands of prospective customers arrive at Citibank websites and hit the Apply Now button. But 70 to 90% of them will abandon before they've completed the application process. It's kind of like you've beaten your competition, but you haven't won the customer. At Avoka, we believe application abandonment is a problem worth solving. And we're going to solve it by making the process frictionless for the customer. Now, to be frictionless, first of all, we need to be omnichannel. The customer expects to be able to engage with the bank on any device or channel of their choosing. And in fact, they may want to cross over between devices and channels within a single transaction. So we're going to allow them to do that. Secondly, to be frictionless, we have to be effortless. Every single keystroke, every screen tap, every mouse click we ask the customer to complete contributes to abandonment. So we're going to put a relentless focus on minimizing the effort for the customer to complete the application. Now, you could take what I've just suggested and you could throw an army of developers at it because Citibank has an army of developers. But that has its challenges. It's expensive and it's slow. And that's if you've got the right people with the skills available to take on the task. And then it's hard to scale because you have literally thousands of transactions that need this kind of attention. And then, by the way, once you've built it, you need to maintain it, which is slow and expensive, and you need to have the people with the right skills available. But there is an alternative. Avoka Transact is a digital business platform that empowers business users to create frictionless experiences for sales and service transactions. So let me show you what Kevin was able to create as a Citibank credit card application in just 2 days using Avoka Transact and a set of APIs. Okay, so the first thing I can see I've presented with here is an opportunity to just snap a photograph of my driver's license to pre-fill the application. Now, we're doing this in the browser. This is not an app. Customers don't want to install an app to become a customer. They're happy to install an app once they are a customer, but we're doing this in the browser. So we're going to take that photograph and we're going to securely send it to a server to strip the data off of it. But I don't even have to wait. I can move on. The next thing I need to do is provide employment information. This is a credit application. But you know what? All my employment information is in LinkedIn. So why don't we use LinkedIn APIs to strip that information out? So you can see it's retrieved. Now, I've already authenticated, so we've bypassed the user ID and password, but it's already retrieved that information. The only thing I need to specify is that I'm full-time, ask my kids. Everything is in there, so we'll hit continue and we'll move on. So now I'm into the personal details section. That's the information that's come off the image of the driver's license. Look how many keystrokes we have saved the customer to complete that application. So let's just go ahead and move on. Haven't been known by any other names, I promise. I've got 2 kids and I am married, so let's go ahead and continue. Okay, now as I said, this is an application for credit. So you need to know about my income and my outgoings, my liabilities. But there's a fabulous organization out there called Yodlee. So they're going to retrieve that information from me securely. Now, I could either provide you with statements, bank statements, 90 days maybe, but in this case, I'm just going to log into my bank securely through Yodlee, strip that information out. It's going to be automatically categorized into what you need to know. Income, liabilities, frequent payments, maybe even high-risk payments. The transactions are being analyzed, and that information is being pulled back into the application. Again, minimizing keystrokes. I don't have to go and get my statements and figure out what my salary is or how much I'm paying in rent or mortgage. It's all being pulled back for me. So that information has been entered into the application without me having to type it. Now, you would have seen that at each of those steps, I had the opportunity to type it in. So if I choose not to use my driver's license, that's fine. It's just more effort on my part. But I'm lazy, so I'm going to take the path of least resistance. We'll go ahead and hit continue. And there we have it. Citibank is now in a position to offer me a credit card. That's about 60 seconds of effort to complete that application, and you're in a position to offer me a product. Of course, I've read the terms and conditions, so I'll accept them, and we'll hit the submit button, and we're done. That's a KYC compliant, responsible lending compliant application for a credit card in about 60 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to throw back to the slides. So what I just showed you, this is the City Mobile Challenge, so we thought we better do that on a mobile phone, but that same experience will work across any device, or even in various channels, although the call center obviously can't take a photograph of my driver's license, but they could just enter the information if I was to phone. Same experience, didn't have to build it multiple times. So what exactly did we do here? Well, we recognized the fact that Citibank has a truckload of technology already, and you're exposing this through the API layer. Now, you've already got your websites, your web content management systems that are pushing out information. That's your digital marketing. That's kind of pushing information out about your products and services for customers to consume. And then obviously you want to build these beautiful, frictionless, omni-channel experiences. Now, typically that gap would be filled by HTML5, ASP.NET, Java development, and so on. But that's where Avoka Transact fits in. We provide you with a graphical design tool, drag and drop, so the developers build the components, like wrap up the APIs and so on, and then the business users can use them, drag them onto a palette to construct the experience that you actually want to expose to the customer. So Kevin's gone ahead and he's pulled together an identity verification check here. He's just going to select that, pull that in. And this is the kind of ID service, like an Experian or something like that, that will go out and verify identity documents and come back and say, yeah, we know who you are. We don't need you to do anything else. We've also then got a server product, Transaction Manager, and that's responsible for managing these transactions. Once they've been built, you publish them into Transaction Manager. And within there, we gain a lot of information and analytics about what's going on. So we can tell you the average completion time, what devices are being used, what the abandonment rates are, so you can focus in on where people are dropping out of the experience. Previously, you've never had a technology that's focused on this problem. You've had to build this stuff. We've focused our efforts on building a product focused on this problem, on abandonment, on a frictionless experience. Okay. Thanks, Kev. So, if you liked what you saw, how easy would it be to implement? Well, our fastest implementation, and we monitor this stuff, it's all about frictionless, is 5 days. From signing a contract with a bank to having a frictionless credit card experience in market on their website acquiring customers was 5 days. So would that be disruptive if you were to build these kinds of experiences? Well, Amazon changed the e-commerce industry with one click. I can purchase a product, pay for it, and have it shipped to my house with, you guessed it, one click. Now, the regulators won't allow you to issue a credit card based on one click, but somewhere between the experience that you're offering to customers today and Amazon one click is an optimal experience, and that's what we're trying to deliver. So what would the impact be if you were to do this? So we have worked with some clients, and we worked with one client who was already enjoying completion rates of about 36% on a personal loan. They had a mobile-friendly experience, they had a web-friendly experience. 36% is not bad. After just 5 weeks, we got them to a 51% completion rate. And we don't see many banks in the industry that have a 51% completion rate on their application process. Now, based on the data we were able to get about Citi, we reckon you acquired about 4.2 million new credit card customers last year. So if we had the same kind of improvement, what would that mean? An additional 1.7 million credit cards. Now, what's 1.7 million credit cards? Well, if you stack them on top of each other, that's the equivalent of 3 Empire State Buildings of new customers. I think that would be a significant impact. So can this only be applied to sales? No. We have customers using this for loans, for mortgages, but also insurance claims, property valuations, account servicing transactions, government licenses, permits. And again, buy versus build. You don't have the time. You can't match the agility that we've built into this platform, and we have decades of experience of making this stuff work. Now, there are certain organizations who are transforming industries purely by focusing on the customer experience. Uber aren't building taxis, they're just making it easier for you to get one. By working together, we can make Citi the easiest bank in the world to do business with. Thank you.
Very good. Very good presentation, and probably close to our hearts here at Citi in the consumer business. So, We have multiple questions. I can see them going up. And we'll start with the young lady there and then to the young lady here.
First of all, thank you for calling me young. Leslie Gilling, Global Marketing. So you had me at 5 days. So to that point, when you think about working with a city and the reality of a 5 days, what would city need to do on our end of the bargain to get to that 5 days? So how do you help us understand that?
Okay, so if you have, so this is assuming that we've gone through procurement.
Good point. Good point.
Take us 5 days just to get the lawyers on the end of a phone, I think. So assuming that we've gotten through procurement and we're ready to actually hit the go button. If the APIs exist for us to push information into your organization, then it's really easy. We're ready to do that today. But very often we're in a situation where if the experience you have on the website today is a PDF, and somebody downloads it and prints it out and fills it in and sends it in, then you're not ready for digital. So what our platform allows you to do is create the customer experience, and when the customer hits the submit button, we can actually overlay the data on top of the existing PDF, and you can continue manually processing it so the customer experience is transformed when the back office isn't. And that buys you time to get ready, to get those APIs and so on in place. And once you have them in place, you switch out the PDF and you wire it up so the data's flowing through to the API. So we've got mechanisms. The 5 days was a situation where a customer they had committed to the market to launch a new product. It was a low interest rate credit card. So they had a deadline, so they were motivated, and we had the platform to allow them to hit that deadline.
Okay, fantastic. Next question.
Can you come back to office with us? Sorry. So I run sales. By that, you can understand my excitement with the project, and I think it's fantastic. And I know we've talked about it, and the question I had is related to also what Leslie said is, if we had the decisioning capability in place at the back end, because you need to connect to credit engines.
Yep.
And how difficult has that been in your experience when you worked with other banks?
Yep.
Who have that capability?
So the organization I mentioned that went from 36% completion rate in personal loan to 51, the experience they had in the market at the moment already had wiring to a decision engine to Yodlee, and we just replaced that with our product. They didn't have identity verification, so we added that into the experience. That project took 10 days, so it was twice as long. But we were still able to complete that within 10 days. If the services exist, but the reason they replaced it with us, because they already had something in market, was they didn't have the agility to tweak. They were able to go through literally daily release cycles. I'm sure everybody here at Citi is used to the idea of releases, where you bundle things, you might do a quarterly release, you put 10 changes out there, and you don't know if 5 of them were good and 5 of them were bad, because they all went out in a big bundle. Our clients are making daily releases of changes, so they can change one thing at a time and see if that one thing had a positive or a negative impact.
And just related to that, you talked about multi-channel, so you could do something in a branch and go home and complete it online, and that works equally well.
Absolutely. We don't like the idea of somebody having to create a user ID and password to create an account if they're not a customer. So every time you initiate an application, we generate a reference code. If you then save, we take that reference code and we ask you to create a security question or a password against it, just a PIN. Then we'll email that to you, so you can move between devices. You can start in the branch, you can start in the call center. Similarly, you can start online, and if you get stuck, phone the call center, give them the reference code. They can see where you're up to and provide you with in-context assistance.
Okay, all right. One more, and the young lady in the back.
Hi, Linda from Australia. With the application form, with the one card, which I thought was fantastic, congratulations. If we were wanting our customers to have an experience that was very intuitive, where the data you captured could also offer other products and services that they may have thought of, do you have those capabilities?
So we don't have the next best action capability in our product, but we have created hooks for that. So we will pass the data off. Your engine, which could be from an IBM or something like that, says, hey, you should offer that customer X. You give that back to us, and then we will present it. So we're not that business rule engine, if you like, for the next best action, but we can certainly surface it, and we've done that with some of our clients. One of the other things that we've done, because we're a layer that's focused on the customer experience, and there could be multiple systems below, is we've done things like product bundling. So you'd be familiar with St. George. St. George are a client of ours. They have a business banking product, 5 products, 1 application experience that the customer can complete in 15 minutes. But we haven't actually aggregated the 5 systems. We just complete 1 application, and then we just send the data down the 5 separate streams, and they provision the product separately, but the customer experience is transformed.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for a fantastic presentation, which, again, it's very close to the hearts of us here in the consumer business.